Yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. You know what it is. If you haven't already and you're here on YouTube, go ahead, please click that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell so you can be up to date on when the new episodes come out. Definitely want you to stick around for that, and also want you to stick around for the video. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, type in the Format Podcast, give us a search. We should come up. Please give us that 5-star review, helps us out a whole lot, and leave us a comment here on YouTube or a comment on your audio podcast platform. All that helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. All right, let's do it. Okay, so if you're a sports fan, you know it's over, and this time I think it's over for real. Tom Brady recently announced that he is retiring, and this time it's for good. Check it out.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So it won't be long-winded. Like, you only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
So there it is. This is the guy that most people believe is the greatest quarterback of all time. Some people argue is the greatest football player of all time. I don't think I go that far as the greatest overall football player of all time. A lot of people say that's Jerry Rice. Some people say that's Lawrence Taylor. You know, you can argue who you think that is, but I definitely believe he's the greatest quarterback of all time. You know, despite some faux pas, you got Deflategate, you got Spygate. Those are things we can get into on another time. But at the end of the day, I doubt we'll ever see the 7 Super Bowl championships eclipsed. I doubt we'll ever see the 23 seasons played at the position eclipsed. That is incredible. A quick side note, just thinking, you know, for the last few years now, there have been times when Tom Brady, because it's known that every year when the season starts, he walks over to rookies in the locker room and says, "Hi, my name's Tom Brady," as if they don't know who Tom Brady is, right? But imagine you're Tom Brady and you're 44 years old, you're 45 years old, and you walk over to introduce yourself to a new teammate fresh out of college, and you've been in the NFL longer than he's been alive. Like, that's crazy, right? But anyway, I don't think we'll ever see that eclipsed. I don't think we'll ever see the touchdown mark eclipsed that he has. I mean, maybe with the way people are throwing it more and more nowadays, quarterbacks and receivers are protected more and more nowadays. The league is so offense heavy, and the rules have made it that way. Again, a topic for another day. This is about Brady. The yardage, I don't imagine that anyone is going to play long enough to do that. And with that, part of the reason, I think when we say that he's probably the greatest quarterback of all time, I think it's just an amalgam of the winning and the records and how he won in terms of the clutch play in big games and all of that. And, you know, we look at, for instance, being down 28-3 in the Super Bowl and coming back and winning that. We look at early in his career, the first 2 championships, being able to lead drives at the end of the game to set up clutch field goals by Adam Vinatieri. Yes, I said clutch field goals because I know there's some people who believe if you don't throw a touchdown at the end of the game, then it doesn't matter as a quarterback. But it's you as a quarterback who's got to lead that drive to put your team in position to win. So I think there's something to be said for that as well. Yeah, throwing the touchdown looks prettier, but putting your team in a position to win either way by not turning the ball over and making clutch completions and big time throws in the most pivotal of moments, to me, that's just as impressive. But yeah, when you look at everything that Tom Brady did in his career, yes, he wasn't the most athletic guy, but the things that he was able to do regardless, and one of my biggest things is he was able to do it without elite weaponry. You look at a Peyton Manning, and a lot of times the argument gets made because for years that was, you know, shootout at the OK Corral, Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady. That was the duel, right? But you look at a Peyton Manning, and as great as he was, number one, he only made 4 Super Bowls, and 2, he only won 2 of them. And his organization put everything around him for him to be able to succeed. And that's what an organization is supposed to do when you have a quarterback of that caliber. I get it. But you got your Dallas Clarks and who's like maybe a just below Hall of Famer, like Hall of very, very good at tight end. And you got Marvin Harrison, who is a Hall of Famer, and Reggie Wayne, who'll probably eventually get in. And you got Edgerrin James, who's in, and then Joseph Adai after him, who was outstanding. And you have Marshall Faulk before Edgerrin James, who was a Hall of Famer. I mean, so many weapons. You had elite O-lines, and then you eventually started getting elite defenses. And, you know, that was when Peyton Manning won. But the point I'm trying to make is, people argue Tom Brady versus Peyton Manning, but when you look at Tom Brady's weapons and what he was able to do without the same level of weaponry that Peyton Manning had, I mean, to me, he gets the nod hands down. He gets a nod hands down. Just what he was able to do. And Peyton Manning, he walked in, he was the starter from day one. Tom Brady had to wait his turn, you know. He was third string quarterback at first and worked his way up. And when Drew Bledsoe got hurt, he stepped in and then he never looked back. And so when you look at the greatness of a Tom Brady, and, you know, we could wax poetic for hours about the career of Tom Brady. And I'm sure, you know, there's going to be documentaries and this, that, and, you know, you had the Time Against Time and all that, but I'm sure there will be more coming out and we'll find out. I mean, Tom Brady literally gave everything to football to the point that his marriage fell apart. Tom Brady gave everything he had to football. And this is a guy, the definition of maximizing your career through hard work and dedication. As I mentioned earlier, Tom Brady is, and you can see it by looking at the guy. You know, if you go back to his combine film, his picture without his shirt on, and then one of the worst, 40 times ever. I think he ran like 5'2" or something like that. You have 300-pound defensive linemen who running faster than that now. Now, part of that is evolution and training, but the point is, Tom Brady's never been a great athlete, but none of that mattered when you look at what the guy was able to do in his career. I mean, he's the definition of great. He's as great as great gets. I mean, Tom Brady is on that Mount Rushmore. I mean, I guess if you leave it to team sports in America, it's what Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky. I don't know what the other team sport is. Well, I'm not going to comment on baseball. I'm not well enough versed in baseball to really say who that guy would be. Not really sure. Barry Bonds or whoever you want to put there. But I'm not a baseball guy. But the point I'm trying to make is he's easily on that Mount Rushmore for his dominance in a sport that is not designed to be dominated by any one guy or any one team. It's just not made to be that way. From, free agency and trading and franchising and the franchise tag, all these different things, and the injuries, of course, and the hard salary cap. All these things are made to make the NFL the most competitive sport, and it's probably the most competitive team sport in our country or in our North American sporting landscape, because of all these things that are made to make it that way. But year after year, Tom Brady was competitive, and I'm trying to think. I believe this season was his first season ever in 23 years with a losing record as a starter. That's got to say something to you. That has to say something to you. That is dominance. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like Bill Belichick and those defenses and everything else didn't have a role, but we're seeing clearly that without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick hasn't been able to get it done, and that's no knock on Bill Belichick, but Tom Brady was clearly the straw that stirred the drink in New England. And then when they split, he comes down to Tampa Bay and he wins another Super Bowl. So, these are the feathers in this guy's cap. And we know, 5 years from now, there's no question about it, this guy is first ballot going in as, again, arguably the greatest who's ever done it at the position. Some people are going to argue Peyton Manning. I just had an argument with my boy about that earlier this week. But, I mean, to me, it's hands down. Peyton Manning was great in the regular season, and people talk about the way he commanded an offense and how his work ethic and his cerebral nature for the game made it so difficult on defenses and opposing defensive coordinators, and all that's true. But I think the same's got to go for Tom Brady. And again, what I got to go back to, Tom Brady did not have all those Hall of Fame weapons, right? So you look at it and then you say, okay, 2007, Tom Brady gets Randy Moss. He finally gets a nuclear weapon, and what does he do? He goes completely insane and breaks a bunch of records and goes undefeated all the way up to the Super Bowl. Now, we know that Super Bowl mars that season for him, and I'm sure he would give anything, probably other than his children, to be able to go back and change that and win that game. But still, he finally gets a weapon, and look what he did. It's that simple. So imagine if Tom Brady had had all the weapons around him for his entire career the way Peyton Manning did. Who knows what he would have been able to accomplish? Again, if was a fifth, right? But at the end of the day, I think there's no question about it. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback who's ever done it. I don't